I'm your host, Cassandra Bodzak, and today's episode is all about the full moon in Gemini that we are having on December 12th, 12/12, a beautifully auspicious numerical day in and of itself. This full moon is the last full moon of the decade. So it's particularly exciting because we're entering into eclipse season. So the next new moon that we'll have on the 26th of December will be the first eclipse, but we're already feeling that energy. And so for those of you who don't know about eclipse season is we have these pockets of massive transformation. Eclipse season is kind of the difference between like if your mom's like knocking on your door and telling you to like clean your room. That's kind of, let's say, like the normal moon vibe. And eclipse season is like your mom's in your room. She's just like throwing ish out. She's just like moving stuff. She's rearranging stuff. She is like stuff is going down because you have been asked numerous times gently and you haven't listened. And so now things are happening a little bit more aggressively. But eclipse season doesn't have to be a negative thing, right? Eclipse season, actually, I look at it, I get excited for eclipse season because it's a time of quantum leaps. It's a time where when we are listening, when we are tuned in, when we are paying attention to our intuition, we feel like, our car just went into hyperdrive, right? And now we're like going at the speed of light and jumping timelines and dimensions, and it's this really beautiful thing that's going on, and we can just kind of ride the wave and go with it and trust it. But often eclipse season does throw you some pretty interesting curveballs that has us really having to ground into that trust and that faith. So this full moon that we're having this Thursday, December 12th, and we're going to feel that energy, like I always say, about 3 days before and 3 days afterwards. And now you're also, in addition to feeling this full moon energy, you're feeling that eclipse season energy coming into the picture, right? So this full moon is really special because it's kind of like our parting bow tie, so to speak. Like we're tying the wrapping paper on 2019, and wishing it farewell. Full moons are always a time of releasing, of completion, and so it is a time for us to really close this year. And I think it's really interesting because when we look at the astrology, the timing kind of how we do things is a little different than, a lot of people will probably be waiting to formally do this kind of work until, the week between Christmas and New Year's, right? When all of a sudden, if you're going to do this work at all, maybe you step up and you're like, hey, I should probably write a list of, kind of what I learned in 2019 or what I'm taking with me, and do that reflection and get really clear on what my vision is for 2020. And of course, there's no bad time to do that. But astrologically, I think this moon is an opportunity for us, this full moon, since it is the last one that we'll be having in this decade, to really release the things that just aren't serving us anymore. And a lot of people in my life and in my clients have been having just a lot of old patterns surfacing, a lot of old trauma, perhaps a lot of old memories surfacing, but they're coming to us. And I mean, it's been with my clients especially, like we've been able to literally move mountains these past weeks in our sessions because things are coming up and now we see them and we can heal them, right? Which is why it's so powerful in these full moon portals and these energetic portals at all, right? When all of this is being illuminated. So with this Gemini full moon, you're going to notice a lot of ways of being that are not working for you are eliminated. But Gemini is also, it's the storyteller, right? It's the orator, right, of the zodiac. So when I think about Gemini, I think you're really going to illuminate the ways that you're speaking things into existence that you don't want to speak into existence. And you're going to really look at the stories that you're telling about yourself and about your life. And you're going to have an opportunity to really just like seal it up and say bye. You know, one of the things that I do with a lot of my clients is, as we're going through the work, we see the limiting beliefs that are getting in the way from them living the life that they want, right? Living the life that they dream of. And we unlock and we kind of illuminate the different areas of their life as to what are the stories we're telling ourselves in those areas? What are the negative beliefs, right? And anybody can do this if you have enough self-honesty, right? And you look at yourself and you say, okay, I say I really, really, really want this. And if you can sit with yourself and say, but is there any part of me, even if it's a part I don't agree with, even if it's a part that might be a little unconscious, even if there's a part that I don't let act, right? Is there any part of me that doesn't believe I can have it, that doesn't think I'm worthy of it, that doesn't want it for whatever reason, because having it might make me feel unsafe, or having it might make me more vulnerable, right? When we look at that stuff and we see the stories that we've been telling, and then we can unlock where those stories originated from, that's when we can go and heal at the root. That's when we can say, oh wow, I understand that I've had this story going that I'm just not a physically fit person, because when I was in third grade in gym class, I got picked last for volleyball. And you know, you can laugh about that, but if you go back, that's a very real possible scenario. And we all have things like that weren't really these big momentous moments, right? When we have those big momentous moments of trauma, we know, right? And then so that's a more obvious thing to heal. But a lot of the stuff that I actually work on with my clients, and the stuff that might be coming up for you around this moon, is not that big, you know, horrible trauma. It is the little traumas that we interpreted and made it mean something about ourselves, and now started creating a story that we've been perpetuating in our life around it. So what happens is, so now, little Lily, who was in third grade and said, got picked last for volleyball or whatnot, now is 35 and struggling, has had this constant battle with her body, can't seem to feel well and feel physically fit and feel at peace in her body, because she has this story that there's something wrong with her. She has this story that she's just not as physically fit as normal women, right? And so when we can go back and see that story originated there and do healing work, and obviously the work I do with my clients is a little bit more intensive, where we're actually reprogramming the brain and reprogramming that patterns and going back and healing that child self of ours. But what you can do right now is bring these patterns to light, right? Realize during this portal where it's going to be heightened, where you're going to be able to really see, oh my God, what stories am I telling that don't resonate, or don't resonate with where I'm going in 2020. I think a great exercise for this full moon would be writing down what your vision for 2020 is, and dreaming really flippin' big, guys. Dreaming really big, allowing yourself. I think this is another thing that I see constantly comes up with women that I work with, is that they've put a glass ceiling on their dreams, because they're like, well, I'm already this age, or it hasn't worked out this far, or I'm already, doing this or whatever. No, okay, this is your vision. You get to claim whatever your vision is. Doesn't matter if it's like, a whole thing away, because honoring that truth, honoring that desire will ultimately lead you to the life you're supposed to live. And maybe it's not going to be the exact life of your vision, right? But we get clues from that vision, right? We get clues. If, maybe in your vision, you're living in an island, right? On an island, right? With water all around or whatever. And, maybe in your life right now, it's not practical to uproot and move to an island, but maybe through honoring that vision, now oh wow, I wanna go to the beach. I want to walk by the lake once a week as part of my self-care practice. Maybe you get a beautiful picture of the beach and you put it in your office, or you put it in your home in a place that allows you to connect with that energy that fills up your soul. Maybe you make sure you plan an island vacation this year, right? So when we dream that big and we allow ourselves to like really see that big juicy vision, then we get so many clues, right? And so often the big juicy vision we have is not this, it's not this exact thing that we have to replicate, right? There's elements of it. It's how we feel. There's clues in that vision, right? Our desires lead us to those clues, right? And then after you have that vision, I want you to go and look right now every flippin' story you have that says you can't have that says that's not possible for you. Because that's where the gold is. And that list, oh honey, that list is what we're leaving in 2019. That list is what we're flushing down the toilet with this Gemini full moon. And you can literally, I'm going to throw some stuff into the ocean tonight. Throw like shells and rocks, symbolic of things I'm letting go of. That's the ritual I'll be doing with my partner this evening. But, you know, you literally can write these things on paper and flush them down the toilet, or put them in, you could write them on toilet paper, symbolically, throw something out or light it on fire, in a safe way, whatever. But the point is, we're releasing this. We're letting go of this story. We're saying, you don't belong here anymore. I'm not taking you into the new year. And here's the thing. Here's the follow-up for that, right? Because I know a lot of you guys in the spiritual community have been doing full moon things like that, have been saying that you're going to stop living your victim pattern, or saying you're going to release this feeling of unworthiness, right? But it keeps on coming back. It keeps on coming back to haunt you. And so you have to really be committed to this. This is going to take commitment. We have a lot of Capricorn in the sky. This is going to be work, guys. But you have the momentum behind it, right? You also have Jupiter in Capricorn right now, which is allowing expansion, right? Expansion through that work. Capricorn is the mountain goat, right? It's showing up. I'm gonna go up the mountain. I see my goal. I'm working for it, right? So when Jupiter is in Capricorn, the areas of our life where we approach that energy, where we really say, okay, you know what? Maybe it's like, I'm really dedicated to feeling stronger this year. This is something that I'm really working on to ease some of my, some of the neck and back pain that I have. Is I'm actually doing a lot of free weights and stuff at the gym to target my back and areas, to build strength in those areas, so I don't need to get massages all the time. But that's a very like kind of like my eyes on the prize there, right? It's something I've added to my routine. I have a clear focus on what I want. I want more back strength. I want better posture. And I'm doing the daily tasks it needs. There's no real drama around that, right? There's a couple, it's literally like maybe 2 or 3 machines at the gym that I do in addition to like my normal thing. And it's consciously thinking about my posture throughout the day, right? There's no emotional energy around it. There's no drama around it. That's very Capricorn, right? Where you are saying, okay, you know what I really want to do? Let's use that island vacation example, right? I really want to go to Bora Bora in one of those little huts in the sea, right? The Capricorn way to do it is just look up, okay, what about our plane tickets from where I live to Bora Bora? Let me look up a couple different versions of those huts by the sea. How much do they cost? Okay. Let me add up what that vacation would be. And then let me budget to see, okay, well, if I save X, Y, and Z each month, or if I eliminate this expense, or if I move this around, I'll be able to afford that Bora Bora vacation that I dream of in 6 months, in a year, whatever it is, right? It's a methodical plan, and then you just see it through. So honoring those energies when we're thinking about that in the terms of releasing our own old story, right? So if your old story is I'm not worthy, or whatever, right? That's one a lot of people have. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. I'm not lovable. And the list goes on. It's recognizing how that old story plays out, right? This is a lot of the work we do in Divinely You as well. Divinely You and my one-on-one program. So if this is hitting some chords with you and you're like, wow, I need to do this work, I highly, highly advise for you either sign up for the Divine Body Masterclass so you're on the list when we get Divinely You going again in the new year, or feel free to click the link below and sign up for a session with me, and we can work it out together. A lot of these are heavy blocks that you've been carrying since childhood. And it's, it takes someone that's literally been doing this professionally for 7 years now, to really help you move them. And this is deep work. And a lot of it is going to require you showing up and you doing the work and you doing the push-ups and you seeing yourself tell that old story again and having to rewrite it, right? Having to see yourself go into that pattern again, having to say, no, 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 we're not going here again. I see you, and no. But that is the power of this Gemini full moon, is showing us this, is illuminating this for us. And Gemini, you're also going to find that you're going to find a lot of healing and conversation right now. So if something comes up, something feels raw, emotional, you want to have a loving dialogue about this. There might be some things that come up, and if you're in your shadow self, let's say, you may want to lash out at someone. You might want to blame someone. You might want to try to be argumentative. Do not do that on this full moon. I am just warning you. It will not go well for you if you do that. But what you can do is have a beneficial conversation. This moon is going to be, call a girlfriend, call a friend, talk to your partner about something that's coming up. And this moon is really going to help you heal through the articulation of it, right? Gemini is the communicator. Gemini is the communicator. And so utilizing that tool, something I do, I'll just put it out there, when I'm working through something, is often just use voice notes. I, in general, am a very throat chakra healing person. I process things through my throat chakra, and so I don't always need to use someone else to process, but the act of talking out loud helps me process my thoughts and my feelings. And so I can often just voice record myself on my phone or talk out loud when I'm driving. And I'll help myself get to a better understanding through that process. And so utilize that during this full moon. We also have, a couple other things I want to mention before I wrap this up. So we have all the planets going direct right now, which is so exciting. You're probably feeling this beautiful boost of energy finally, right? After some funkiness with Mercury in retrograde. And it is a really beautiful burst to ride that wave into 2020, to be doing this work and energized to do this work and energized to move towards that vision, energized to heal these stories that aren't working for us anymore. And so you jump on the train. I'm a big, big fan. I'm a very energetically sensitive human. So whenever the astrological energy is in our favor, I am all about riding that wave home. Ride it, ride it, ride it. Utilize it. We also have, yes. So we have Neptune. Neptune's in the sky, which brings an interesting energy, because in many ways Neptune's kind of like opposite of Capricorn vibe, right? Neptune during this time is having us we're feeling like we have a lot of choices, and we're feeling kind of foggy about which way to go. And when we're in that kind of fog, right, what's happening is we're battling it out between our head and our heart. And the secret sauce to moving through that right now is really going to be constantly grounding yourself in your heart. Listening to your heart to guide you is going to be what is the most helpful and making the most aligned choices. I mean, it always is, right? You're listening to your head is never the end all be all, right? We always want to listen to our intuition and our heart the most, because our head is where a lot of our trauma is. Our head is where our limiting beliefs are. Our head is where what the rest of the world is doing is. Our heart is aligned to our specific route, our specific journey, our highest path. So when if you are in a place where you're feeling like there are a lot of options or things are coming up and you're feeling all this beautiful Jupiter energy and abundance, I want you to really go into your heart before you make a decision. Really go into your heart. If you're feeling a lack of clarity right now, it's because you haven't settled fully in your heart. So step into that. And then we also have Mercury and Uranus, quincunx, all the words today. And what a lot of astrologers call this is what is going on. Speaking of a Gemini new moon, full moon, I have lost my verbal facilities. So let's talk about this quincunx. So this quincunx is what some astrologers call the voice of God. The voice of God. It's what me and you probably call getting all the downloads. So what that means is that this astrology is also primed for you to be getting lots of massive downloads from your highest self, from God, from the universe, from your spirit guides, from whoever you want to call it. Doesn't really matter. You're going to be getting all these beautiful intuitive hits. And so we really just want to soak that up. We want to enjoy that. And it's an interesting energy. I'm just going to say that it's an interesting energy when you're receiving a lot and you're verbally processing it. Right? So you want to really balance that out. You want to make sure that you have enough quiet time, because Neptune and this quincunx are really going to be able to be accessed more beneficially. You're going to be able to get into your heart. You're going to be able to receive the downloads. You're going to be able to get that guidance so that you figure out what is the thing that you need to throw some Capricorn energy on and like climb up the mountain with, right? What is the big vision for 2020? And then that will allow you to see what are the negative self-talk patterns, what are the negative stories that I'm telling myself that I need to release. So I want to advise you to get quiet before you talk. And to allow that to be in balance in these past few days, these couple of days moving forward. Whoa, I don't know what's coming through, but sometimes I guess when I get on this podcast and I'm just channeling, I feel like sometimes what's coming through comes through too fast, and then it's like almost like I have these little like I'm like a record skipping. Weird. Any hoot, I feel like you guys got my divine download, and I hope that this was a really helpful podcast for this energy right now. Utilize this right now to start closing up the year, right? This doesn't have to be your end all be all, 2019. Don't worry. I'm cooking up something for you to be doing over the new year and over that transition to help you seal that. So stay tuned for that. I'll definitely be releasing something, probably some sort of New Year's workshop that you'll be able to do to really formally release 2019 and step into 2020. But this full moon is a great place to start. And doing that releasing ritual and really taking a look at those stories and what you're ready to release. And then thinking, okay, what am I going to do if that story comes up again? Because here's the thing. I like to say with manifestation, like once you've ordered it, like pretend like, it's Amazon and it's on the truck. So like don't keep on going back for it because you're negating your manifestation. But when it comes to these really old patterns, it's a little bit trickier, right? Because you're releasing it and it's almost like you've got these like weeds, these roots in you. So you pluck some weeds, but some might still come back. And you've become habituated to saying these BS stories, to saying these negative stories, to telling your friends, oh, I can't go out because I'm tired, to not, to saying like, oh, the work is too overwhelming or whatever it is, right? Whatever your story is, we all have them. And you need to come up with a game plan, an action plan, would say Capricorn, that when that story comes up, you nip it in the bud. You literally say, stop, stop, stop. No, 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 no. We're not going down this route. And you create a new story for it. And like I said, this is the work of our lifetime, right? This is the work that I love so much getting to do with my clients, because it's the work that I know for myself has completely transformed my life. I know that when you're able to heal these past stories, these past things, these associations that we make that inform so much of how we show up in the world in every aspect of your life, that your whole life transforms. And it's not this whole like, this like white knuckle discipline, all this like crazy stuff. It's like, no, your life transforms, your life blooms because you've released all of the lies that you were holding on to, that were holding you back. So show up for this work. And like I said, if you need assistance, if you need guidance, click the link below, sign up. Let's do a session. Let's get you going into the new year right and strong. And if you are curious about Divine the You, which also works, is my group program that works on these rewiring, so to speak, and connecting you back to your true self, then be sure to click below and sign up for my free Divine Body Masterclass, because then not only will you get 5 days of amazing tools and meditations and things you can use right now for transformation, but you'll also be on the list for the next time I open up that group, for you to join us for some really transformational work. So I'd love to see you in both of those. Have a very happy full moon in Gemini. Bye, guys.